Hello everybody, welcome to the exam tips for SBR for the March 2020 exam. Before we start, just a quick overview of what the exam would be like. Remember, you have two sections. Section A focused on question 1, which will be on consolidation primarily, but the consolidation of that will not be just preparation. They will not say calculate only. It has to be the discussion behind that consolidation, the themes behind consolidation, knowing about what is control, what is influence, differentiating between that, and being able to appreciate the talk behind all of that consolidation also. So section A, question 1 is primarily consolidation with few other elements of standards or current issues, but in your brain it's good to think about it as consolidation. Question 2 of your exam is primarily on ethics and accounting standards. So they'll give you something which is unethical happening. There are pressures on the accountant. There are manipulation happening. There are temptations to show the wrong picture. And by the way, remember, these are all unethical. Sometimes in class you wonder when people give their answers, but these are all unethical things, being dishonest, trying to overstate, understate information. Watch out for debt covenants that you might have and why people would be tempted as directors or accountants to show the wrong picture. Think about the ethics question also about in the digital age, the challenges that you face as an accountant and the things that we have to now be aware of, whether it be the data that we collect, how we have to make sure we use this data in a proper manner, ensuring we don't misuse this in any form. There are many regulations now which are there for this data and how to manage the data for the customers and other people that you collect. So try to think about these elements also from the IT perspective, the IT security, the cyber element of it, the hacks that could happen, and the awareness as a finance and accounting professional that you must have. So remember, question 2 is accounting standards, but with something unethical happening, you got to apply the accounting standard, you got to apply the principles. When I say apply the principles, you don't have to rewrite that an accountant should be objective, should keep confidential information, should be competent. You got to apply these. What's happening in this scenario? What happened in this scenario which is saying that they are not honest, they are not competent, they are not behaving professionally. So you got to apply your principles into that scenario. Section B, which is question 3 and question 4, there are 3 things that will come up there. First thing talks about accounting standards. What we got to do here is you got to take your principles. So say for example, you take a pension or a leases standard, for example. You take your leases standard. You got to first write the knowledge of that relevant bit. If they're asking about leases for lessees, you got to talk about the lessee element only. You got to then apply it into that scenario. What's going on in that scenario? Have they done it incorrectly? Have they understated information? What is the right accounting treatment? So always know the knowledge, but apply that knowledge into that scenario. That is more critical. So the first thing that they're asking you in those section B, question 3 and 4 are accounting standards, a variety of accounting standards. I wouldn't encourage you to just cherry pick some standards. Do not do that. The examiner has a habit of taking FR standards that you learned in your previous studies like PPEs, impairments, held for sale, which are very critical standards. Do not differentiate between SBR and FR standards. There are a list of standards that are there in your syllabus. You must at least as a bare minimum go through the summaries that we did in our classes so that you're not stuck on how to start a question. The second thing that is going to get tested is very importantly investor analysis. Most students in the classes struggle with this element. Why they struggle with this? Because the things are outside the box. They can ask you to analyze the information from an investor or any stakeholder point of view, the things that they will look into. Investors not only look at profits, but different elements, different alternative measures like EBITDAs, earning before interest, tax, depreciation, amortization. They look at return on equity, return on capital employed. So be able to appreciate that how your accounting adjustments impact these ratios. How you can be able to critically analyze financial information, in the sense that you should be able to talk about some criticism wherever there is subjectivity, wherever there is lack of comparability, wherever there are choices available. There are some issues that exist with the accounting world. And again, don't learn just 3 or 4 past paper questions. Be able to appreciate from every topic what are the challenges. Finally, they'll ask you some current issues. Remember, there's a list of 6 to 7 topics that can come up. The key ones for this sitting is be able to appreciate debt versus equity. Very important. What is debt? What is equity? How the classification can change. Specifically talking about sustainability reporting, the developments in that. How the world is moving towards sustainable goals. How investors and stakeholders want to deal with companies who are sustainable. So thinking about the integrated reporting, thinking about the GRIs, the global reporting initiatives for those who might not know. So read about that, read around those areas, go and read some articles around that. And also speaking about materiality, how materiality is so critical in everything that we do. So keep all of these things in mind. These were the breakup of the question 1, 2, 3 and 4. But more importantly than the technical aspect, if you ask me, in SBR exam, it's very, very important to keep your cool. I don't sound very relaxed and cool right now. I might be a bit excited, but it's important for all of you who are doing this exam to be relaxed. You need to make sure that if you're reading some scenarios and you don't know some elements, it doesn't matter. It's not about knowing every single mark. Go into the exam thinking that there are 10 to 12 marks that you might not be aware of. That's natural. Because if you go into the exam with that mindset, if there are things that are difficult, which there will be, you don't get thrown off. There are things you'll read for the first time. You might have not studied those standards. That's fine. These are professional exams and you're expected to know how to react under pressure. It's like a student was asking me the other day, why is this happening? This is not fair. And my response to them was, no, it is fair, because the idea behind these exams is not only to prepare you technically, but even to see how you will be handling tough situations in real life. There are times in real life you come across things you might not know the answer every time. It's about how you react under pressure. So keep calm, be cool in the exam. Doesn't matter if you don't know 10 to 12 marks. Don't overrun time. Make sure you're spending not more than 1.9 minutes or approximately 2 minutes per mark. If you have a 30-mark question, you cannot spend more than 60 minutes on that. The examiner keeps saying that students around the world are not completing their exams. And you must practice this at home. When you write an answer, you might be amazed we no longer are used to writing anymore. We type, but we don't write. So the exam is still a written exam. Practice writing for those 3 hours. And keep all these tips in your mind. Be relaxed, be positive, and look forward to seeing you smiling on the exam day. Good luck, and thank you very much for listening to me.